question about yoga mats for beginners. I can give you my opinion and you can take it from there. I've used quite a few different yoga mats. The ones that I have when I'm teaching are the B yoga mats. Let's see if I can, there we go. That's the B yoga mat. I think it's the 5 mil, and it's just a pretty standard, let's see, go like this. Pretty standard sticky mat. So it's like what you're gonna find in most studios. So that's what I have here for my students, and they quite often double these up. I'll also say that these B yoga mats, which were originally half moon mats, they are a little bit slippery. So that's not the one that I use when I'm practicing. The mat that I use when I practice is the Lululemon, gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but but this was actually the giant one. Again, don't look too close, it's probably got cat hair all over it. And it is probably the same thickness here, spongy, but the difference is the top. So the top, you can see, has a lot more grippiness to it, and that's what I really love. Now, that being said, I do still like to have 2 or 3 mats piled up if I'm doing a lot of yoga, because it's just happier on my knees, which is quite an investment financially. So maybe just start with one, and then as it loses its grippiness, you know, because they do get slicker over time, then invest in another one and just start layering them up, and that is what I have found to be the best. So after you get your yoga mat, what do you do on it? Well, I thought maybe today we could do a little practice for yoga for beginners. So we are going to start on our mats. I always sit on something to raise up my hips, because especially if you're a beginner, you come to sit on a mat, most people sit like this. You know, their knees are way up, and you want your knees below the level of your hips. And that can sometimes, if you're not, you know, endowed with naturally elastic hips, then that can sometimes take quite a long time. It might not ever happen, but there's a hack. Just use something. I use this squishy foam chip block, but you could even use, if your hips are really tight, one of these foam blocks, and that'll lift your hips way up so that your knees can just relax and let go. And that's the whole point. You don't want to be struggling. You want to be able to relax so that you can focus on the practice instead of on how uncomfortable you are. So we'll start seated on something, and you can either do, this is called easy pose here, Sukhasana, or in kindergarten it's called crisscross applesauce, where you just have your legs crossed. But if it feels okay for you, I sometimes just lie my shins parallel to each other, and that feels a little better. Now, those advanced yogis out there, they'll do, I can't really do it, but to show you one side, this would be the lotus, the classical, or half lotus, the classical yoga pose, but my hips don't love that one. And it's not about how your knees work, because they only bend one way. It's about how much rotation, external rotation, you get in your hips. So it could be something you work towards, but don't overdo it, because it can cause a lot of pain and even injury if you do it wrong. So let's just find the comfortable seated position that feels best for you today, and we'll start by calling it in. So bring your hands to your heart. This is called getting centered. It just means that no matter what else is going on in your world and in your mind, for the next 5 minutes, all that matters is what we're going to do right here on the mat. So we're going to call it in by centering, and then 3 ohms. Deep breath in. You may little shift energetically after completing those 3 ohms. Om is a magical word, a Sanskrit word. I was going to sneeze there. And it's the closest sound we can get to the sound of the cosmic engine, the engine that runs everything in creation. And so by tuning into that, we're tuning into the foundation of everything that matters. Okay, so we're centered, we're tuned in. Now I want you to bring your hands to the floor, touch your fingertips to the floor, feel like you're grounding to the earth, so you're connecting with that earth energy. And then on your next inhalation, we're going to lift the hands all the way up to the heavens to connect with that energy up in the ether. Exhaling to earth and inhaling to heaven. We're knocking the rust off the shoulder joint and energetically aligning the way we should always be aligned. Moving with your breath and feeling good. Now keep the right hand down. We're just going to lift the left hand up. Keep both sits bones glued to whatever you're sitting on, but tilt from the hips all the way up to the armpits towards the right. Now you may have a tendency to flop forward, but I want you to really use your core muscles, your ab muscles, to roll the chest open so that your chest is facing mine. And breathe into the side body and stretch through the hips, the abs, and the ribs. Good, let's do the other side. Inhale the right arm up, take it all the way to the left, keep rolling the chest open, so we are heart to heart. Breathe into the side body, while the hips press down, the arm reaches up. And then all the way up. Let's bring both arms up. One more tall reach. And then down to the mat. Good, let's take the hands out in front of us now. Slide the fingers forward. We're gonna keep those hips still on the mat or on whatever you're sitting on. And we're just gonna reach forward. So now we're getting this big rotation through the hips as we hinge forward. Don't worry about bending the back. The back can stay nice and straight. And just feel it through those hips. Breathing into the side that you're feeling the most, because one side's always tighter than the other. Willing the body to relax. Don't hold on to anything. Just relaxing and surrendering into the stretch. Every exhalation will probably give you another millimeter or two. Excellent. Come on in. I'm going to take a couple head rolls. So right ear to right shoulder, and then rolling the chin down to your chest, and then continuing to roll left ear to left shoulder. And you can do this at the speed of your breath. So exhaling down, inhaling ear to shoulder. Or if you find a tight spot, you can hold it. You can even use your arm to just apply the weight of your arm. No pulling, just the weight of your arm to the neck wherever you encounter a little tight spot. Breathing into that spot to release it, or breathing into the movement. Whatever feels best today. Just lubricating the joints, warming everything up, blowing away the cobwebs. Good. And then we'll come back to center. We're almost ready. We've got 2 more moves. So you're going to big inhale here in your Sukhasana, easy pose. And then exhale, twist to the left, holding onto the left knee with your right hand. The hips don't move, the hips stay square. We're only twisting through the upper spine. Finishing with the head by looking all the way around, and then use your eyes. Look way up into the top left corner and way down into the bottom left corner. Do that a few times, stretching the muscles of the eyes while we twist. And then back to center. Big inhalation here. And then twist to the right, left hand somewhere along that right leg. Twisting along the upper spine, the neck, and now the eyes. Looking to the top right, bottom right, up and down. Back to center. And then the last one, we can do the whole thing sitting down. Isn't that wonderful for an easy practice today? We're just sitting here in our easy pose, and I want you to open the chest, lifting it up, lifting the head. So you've got an arch going. And then we're going to round, tucking the tailbone in, rounding through the back, and tucking the chin. So tailbone and chin are coming closer together. Lifting up, this is a seated cow. Rounding back, seated cat. Do that a few times with your breath. Inhale, exhale, controlling this whole movement with your abdominal muscles. Everything is abs all the time, whether we realize it or not. Rocking the pelvis along the seat. You go slow enough that you're in control of every part of this movement, which means there's no jarring, there's no pinching, there's no squeezing, there's just fluidity through two opposite shapes. You can also feel your shoulder blades, or not your shoulder blades, your shoulder joint, rolling forward and rolling back. That ball and socket is just going one way and then the other. So again, lubricating the joints, bringing blood flow to the joints, and blowing away those cobwebs. And then back to center. Shake it all out. Should have worn a bra. And there we are. How's that for your first easy yoga practice? Thanks for practicing with me today. Namaste. Today I get to spend the day in Calgary with my sister and her family celebrating a few awesome birthdays. Do you recognize this famous landmark? Happy birthday to you. Well, I'm almost home. I just pulled out for a minute so I could say a little hello to you and tell you about the rest of the day. So Calgary, that is a busy city. We did a lot of running around today and there were a lot of crowds, and yeah, I'm just glad to be away from all of that. You can see that when, I'm used to this. You see, there's no people. It's good. Anyway, I had a lovely time with my sister today. It was her husband's 54th birthday, I think. Yeah, 54. That's crazy. How did that happen? He still looks like a young guy.
It was her son's 12th birthday yesterday. So on my way into town, I did stop and buy a vanilla. He spelled it V-I-N-I-L-L-A. That's what he wanted, a vanilla ice cream cake. But unfortunately, he's feeling unwell today, so he was too sick to even get out of bed. He'll have to eat it tomorrow or whenever it is he's feeling better. So instead of having ice cream cake, we made flapper cake, which I learned is a truly Canadian dessert. Flapper cake, in addition to being my brother-in-law's favorite, hails from the Canadian prairies, as do I. And it is a cake. It's a vanilla custard, not cake, what am I saying? It's pie, flapper pie. It's a vanilla custard pie with a meringue topping, and it makes sense that it comes from the prairies because you can make it with almost no ingredients. You need sugar, cornstarch, egg, milk, and a crust. In this case, a graham cracker crust. So we made him a birthday pie, and everyone was happy. My brother-in-law just recently, well, not too recently, maybe about a month and a half ago, came home from the hospital. He had back surgery, and it affected his legs, so he's been relearning how to walk, and it was really heartwarming to see him moving around better than I expected that he would. He's still walking with poles, and he does have like a walker thing, but he doesn't really need it, which was really, really nice to see. Yeah, so Canadian food, let's list them. Now we know that flapper pie is Canadian. What else? Nanaimo bars. My husband's favorite is a butter tart. What else? Bacon, maple syrup, ginger beef. Did you know? I think that actually comes from Calgary. And the drink, the Caesar, all Canadian. And it's funny, I was thinking about Canadian food as I was driving home, and I saw something in the road. I got a little closer and realized it was a Canada Goose. And it had, I don't know how it died, but it had died recently. So I pulled over and put on my four-ways and moved it off the road so that people weren't driving over this carcass. It was kind of a gross way to end the day. Anyway, so that's about it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. I'm going to sign off, and oops, hand in the way. I'm going to sign off, and yeah, we'll catch you in the morning for another day of June vlogs. Bye.